All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. This is Ron. There's still people coming into the room, but it's our scheduled time, so I think I'll go ahead and get started. I put Gil's comments up here. These are on the website, as you can see. Gil just sent this to George the other day, and it's how he feels about HGSI and what he's doing with it. He's made a considerable amount of money, and it's Gil and the software. I mean, Gil's been trading a long time. He's got a real feel for the market, but he certainly is getting a lot out of the software. And I'm going to show you how to get around the software and some screens. We'll talk about charts. We'll talk about the intraday, and I'm just going to try to cover a variety of subjects, and I am just kind of freelancing this. I mean, I've got a list of things over here on my right screen that I can talk about, but I will just kind of ad-lib as I go along. Now, also, I'm going to be working with two computers. I have a laptop attached to this monitor, and when I switch to the laptop, the screen will go black for 2 or 3 seconds, and don't be concerned about that because it's just a switch over from one computer to the other. What I'm going to use the laptop for is, in 30 or 45 minutes, what I'm going to do is switch to it, start an intraday update of all of the files using the laptop, and then I'll come back to this primary computer. The laptop, the graphics card is not as good, but the screen, the charts and so on will be adequate. They don't show up as well as they're showing up on this computer, but it's good enough. And the reason I want to do that is I want to do a full intraday update, which takes approximately 5 minutes with my laptop. It's an i7 with a solid-state drive and 12 gigabytes of RAM. And that goes through all of the groups. Now, that's not really a very long time, but what it allows us to do is it allows us to get the update, and we can get a feel for the entire market at that time, and it also generates the smart groups, and you can actually do a group inclusion report right after that also. So it's another great tool. Now, as far as questions go, I'm going to try not to take any while I'm doing this presentation because I don't want to get distracted, and I will get to them later. Also, George had this scheduled for over an hour, actually an hour and 45 minutes. I don't know if I can talk that long or if we need to go that long, but I'll try to cover it. I'm going to start with the basics and then get into some more complex things, but I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. Now, one thing, or a couple of things I want to talk about here. First of all, I want you to go back on to the websites, to the add-ons, and the reason I want you to do that is because, let me get to the add-ons. Okay. Here they are right here. You can go directly to them from your menu. I want you to go back in here, and even if you have downloaded the Morales and Cacher filters, views, and combos, I want you to install them again. The reason is I added a couple of things, and I also had to fix a couple of moving averages on the charts. I put the right or the correct length in when I put the copy in the chart, but I forgot to switch from simple to exponential for a couple of Gill's moving averages, but that is fixed. So if you just download it, close HGSI, and install them again, and then when you reopen, you will have the correct views, filters, and combos. And that's where I'm going to go right now. Before I get to that, though, let's talk a little bit about the intraday. You certainly need to enable your intraday by clicking on this intraday icon. And then the intraday options I have the selection here, the radio button selected to update every 5 minutes. That way I know throughout the day that I'm only going to be 15 minutes behind. It'll be from 15 minutes to 20 minutes when it gets close to that 5-minute limit, but I know that I'm going to be close. And this really opens up an entirely new world for HGS Investor. It is comparable to some other systems out there, but there's no increase in price. So what you have is you have a lot more flexibility and a lot more insight into the market as to what the market's doing now. We don't care about prognostications and what we think the market's going to do. As Gil mentioned in his opening statement there, or in the statement that I had up, it tells you what the market is doing now, and that's why it's so valuable. I read some of these boards like you do, and people are trying to figure out cycles and tell me what the market's going to do this year. I really don't care, and you shouldn't care, because what you need to do is you need to learn to trade what you see and not what you think. That's what gets most of us into trouble. We try to predict, and it just doesn't work. So HGSI is the best program out there to help us see what's going on now. So I'm going to talk about one more thing here. I'm going to click on this update and include intraday data. That's if I were to do a full update like I'm going to do on the laptop. And you can do this also at 4:15 Eastern Time, 3:15 Central Time, and so on, and that will give you the essentially the end of day download. You won't get everything, of course, but it'll be enough if you want to do that, and then you can start your end of day analysis right away. So very helpful. Okay, now let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with the basics, and I'm going to bring up the warehouse, and I'm going to have it on the right-hand side, and then I'm going to have my designer on the left-hand side. The reason I'm doing this is because I think there is a lot of confusion about what smart groups are and where smart groups come from. Smart groups are views, filters, and combos, which I created using Gil's parameters, and I got as close as I could. They're very close, and you can see that when I open this edit view, there is a filter attached, and these are the parameters for the Buyable Gap. I'm not going to go through them right now, but there's a filter and there is a combo ranking. Now the combo ranking is what sorts the stocks in order. In other words, by weighting these fields, which are HGSI fields, we can get stocks to come to the top of the list based upon whatever weighting I have here. And you can see that I weight the 5 and 10 day pocket pivots very heavily, along with the Force Index 2-day, and the 13-day is a little bit less. And then the Bongo Weekly and Bongo Daily are actually down, but the Bollinger %B 1-day change, which is the kahuna, is up. These should come into play a little bit later. What I'm looking for is I want the immediacy of demand based upon the pocket pivots and also the force indexes in the combo ranking, and notice the different weightings over here. Okay, you'll see that when we get into the charts. So that is an example of what it takes to build a warehouse view. Now we take this information from the warehouse view and we create the smart groups over here in the designer. Now the designer is set up to capture the top 25. Now on these Buyable Gaps, notice that I'm in all securities, and there's only 11 securities here. Now the Smart Group also contains 11 securities. If you look up here in the upper portion of the window, you'll see 11 in both of these. So what what this warehouse view is doing is capturing that information and sending it to a smart group. Now let's go to a different view. I'll bring up the next view. I'm going to bring up this code blue. Now notice that code blue had 229 securities in it. We're not going to look at 229 securities. You can if you want to, but you don't really need to, because if you go over here to the code blue pocket pivot, and let me take that filter off, you'll see that there are 25 stocks in here plus the index, which makes it 26. Here's the index right here, but these 25 stocks are the top 25 stocks from the code blue warehouse view. Code red is, I'm sorry, here's code red down here. It's just the opposite. These are stocks that are showing weakness. These are stocks that are going up and are showing the characteristics that are in Gil's chart. And I'll bring a chart up here. Let's just take a look at this Rockwood holding since it's at the top of the list. Now this is the data from Friday. So this is the end of day data. We're not into the current data right now. So this is Rockwood holdings, and you can see that this is what we would consider a code blue stock. It was showing pocket pivots back here, and let me go to a different chart. Okay, this is the chart. When I'm using code blue and code red, I go down here to this chart, because what this does is it relaxes the pocket pivot requirements a little bit from up here, which is the original more restrictive code in the filter. So the code red and code blue will show pocket pivots based upon primarily upon volume, but they also have to be within the 10% range of the moving average, so they're not too extended. But you can see that Rockwood here, based upon that, it was showing a pocket pivot on this day. It showed it again Friday, and then let's see, this is what is the date today? This is this the 12th? I believe it is. So this is what Rockwood is doing today. It looks like it's still going up based upon a 15-minute delay. I'm going to hit my F5 key, and that will update everything. So this bar right here represents Rockwood Holdings as of today, and you can see that it's trading well in the upper portion of its range, and also it is generating another pocket pivot intraday. So, you know, this is not a chart that I'm crazy about by any means. Look how loose this thing is, and there's plenty of resistance over here. But the point is, it passed the code blue, and it is going up, and these indicators they are confirming that. Is what I'm trying to say. Now while I'm in here, let's talk a little bit about these indicators. We have the force indexes. First of all, we have the pocket pivots. This is the primary thing. These are Gil's pocket pivots, Gil and Chris's pocket pivots down here. And when they're blue, that's a positive pocket pivot. When they're red, that's a negative pocket pivot. Now, pocket pivots, for those of you who may or may not know, I'm sure you all know what a pocket pivot is, but we use both 5 and 10-day pocket pivots. And if the up volume on a 5-day, for example, is greater than any down volume in the previous 5 days, a pocket pivot is generated, and that's what's happening here. So we have the pocket pivot, and then I'm going to start right here. This is the force index 2-day. I noticed the stocks updated right there. You probably saw the screen blink. That was an automatic update on the 5 minutes. So this is a force index 2-day, which is this line right here. So you can see that the force shot up. It actually shot up a day or so before the pocket pivots, but now we're getting confirming signals on this. The force index was developed, the definition came from Dr. Alexander Elder, but we use it in HGSI unlike he uses it. I believe our methodology is actually a lot better. And what it is today's price minus yesterday's price times today's volume. So it's a price and volume or a buying and selling pressure indicator. So this is the force, that definition I just gave you. This line represents a 2-day exponential moving average of that force index. See, very strong here. Now it's coming down a little bit, but the day is not over yet. Now that'll look totally different at the end of the day. This is the same indicator with a 13-day exponential moving average of the force index. Now back here, this would be one of Ian's kahunas. See it coming off the bottom. This is a large move in the percent B for the Bollinger Bands. It's at least a 0.24 move. The light blue, dark blue is a 0.40. So this is a much stronger move here. Now we don't have a kahuna up here, but that's fine. We do have what we call a bongo daily. Both a bongo daily and a bongo weekly are internal relative strength indicators. In other words, it's measuring the relative strength of whatever security is being analyzed. So it's not comparing the relative strength to anything else. It's the internal. What it is some moving averages, and they all have to be in sequential order based upon their strength to generate a signal. Now on this chart, blue is positive, of course, and you'll find that the bongo dailies inevitably kick in before the bongo weeklies, which only makes sense, and also they turn down like over here before the bongo weekly. And you can see that there was a big sell-off in this stock. And anyway, it's generating this. Now it's getting back up in the resistance area. I do not like the looks of this stock, but it was at the top of the list, so I pointed out. Now if we get a longer-term perspective on it, though, and this stock may just be building to break out of here. There's one more very important thing in here that I like to look at, and that is this dotted line. This represents the group line, an equal dollar weighted line of every stock within this industry group. And if you look up here at the chart, you can see this is a specialty chemical. It belongs in the materials sector. The major industry is chemicals. Here's the PE trailing 12 months, and it's liquid enough, got good volume, 50-day average volumes over 1 million shares a day. And here is the earnings date. Earnings season begins today with Alcoa reporting after the bell. So you have to be aware always of the earnings and when they're due, because that can play havoc with your portfolio. Depends on what side you're on, of course. You can get lucky or you can get hammered. Anyway, this other information back here, this is really another reason I don't like this stock. I was just looking at the technicals, but you know, if you're a fundamental trader, you don't see a lot here that you like. The EPS rank is only 22, the group's 36. The relative strength is okay. So if you were taking a trade on this, it would strictly be a technical trade. Now while I'm in here, let's run through some of these other views. This is the fundamental panel, which is right here. You just click on that, it brings up all this information. There's also information in this report. It tells you what the company does. Here's some financial information, which is up here also. Then you can get a quick read here on the institutional. If that's correct, there are no institutions in this one. Excuse me a second while I take a drink. But there's a lot of good information here. Price and volume tells you the different averages of the value, a 30-day average of the volume, or the 50-day average, I'm sorry, right here. But the the last close, these are the different averages. But that is up here in reports. But then when you flip through here, you can get a lot of the same information. Here's the PE over here, the return on equity, not great, so on and so forth. And then when you go all the way through this, you'll get the group information, and then it just, it's a rolling screen is what it is, but very helpful information. This area here represents the earnings over the past 8 quarters. The revenue is red, the earnings are blue. So you can see that this is a turnaround stock based upon this because earnings fell off sharply and then they bounced and turned around and they're moving up, and the revenue did too. Now if you look over here, you'll see that the last quarter, and this is probably what is helping drive this stock, the revenue percentage change was only 3%, but the earnings percentage change was 350%. Now this could be a seasonal stock, not sure, but anyway, this information is all very valid and it's helpful when you're prospecting for stocks. Let's just go to a different stock, maybe the one that's a little more, well, here Brocade has been doing very well lately. This is an inexpensive stock. I'm going to get my crosshair off. By the way, alternate C turns your crosshair on and off. And if you're looking for shortcuts, your right mouse click on the chart and you can see the shortcut keys for the data window, crosshairs and everything else. Let's just bring up this data window while I'm in here also. Now the information that's contained in here is the same information that you're looking at on this chart. So let's start just at the top here. You can see Bongo Weekly is yes, Bongo Daily is yes, Kahuna's up and down. There was no signal today. Force Index, this is the actual number of the Force Index. It really doesn't mean much to you, but the Force Index 13s are here. The Force Index 2 is here. One is for the histogram and one is for the ribbon. That's why you have different colors right here. And you can tell if the forces are positive or negative just by looking up here. This bingo stock, if you look over here to your left, and you can see on Brocade, it did a very good job. It's essentially an oversold indicator based upon relative strength, and you can see that right here after this bingo that there was a pocket pivot, and that was the very low for this. But another thing that you need to look at is this group line. Notice how the group was falling, and as this bingoed and had a pocket pivot, notice that the group was already turning up, and it's followed its group all the way through here. Now the group is moving up, group is moving down, group is moving up. It kind of turned down a little bit here. Now this group line is through Friday. When I do a full update on that laptop, the group line will be extended to include today. Now, I said I was going to start with the basics. I hope this is good information for you because it's when people begin with HGSI, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming because there are a multitude of different methodologies in here. We're concentrating on Morales and Kasher. That is why you're here. And really, essentially, that's all you need. You don't need anything else. We use, as you can see, we use some of the Woodward and Brown indicators right here. I'm going to take I'm going to claim the force indexes, although I didn't develop them, but I figured out how we could best use them in HGSI. And then we have Bongo weeklies and dailies, and that was an outside group. Well, no, it was actually a group of HGSI users, not an outside group. And then, of course, Gil and Chris came up with the pocket pivots. And then down here at the bottom, these are Ian's indicators for their market indicators based upon the NASDAQ. When it's green, when the greens are firing down here, that means that there is a lot of buying pressure in the market. When you get these orange and red, that means there's selling pressure in the market. And here we had a strong eureka. This is what Ian calls them, when the market started moving up here back in December. These are regular eurekas, and these are phoenixes. So they're market indicators, it says right here. So those help give you a sense of direction, especially when there's strong buying and selling pressure. You notice the flicker on the screen there, that was that automatic update that continues to go on. Okay, anyway, let me get back to this and finish this off. So that's the bingo. Worked out very well in that instance. And there were confirming pocket pivots right here as the stock moved up. These moving averages are all color-coded, and here's a 10, a 50, and a 200-day simple moving average, a 20 and a 65 exponential moving average. Now, Gil likes to use these for support, market direction, and so on, or security direction, and it's really a nice visual aid. And so if you want to know how far these are extended from their moving average, you can see that it's the price right now 2.23% above the 10-period simple moving average, and so on. This 50-day moving average is on the volume down here, so that's what that line is down here, and it's also now down here in Ian's portion of the chart. Okay, so there was a pocket pivot true, and that's code blue. Code red is false. No Phoenix, no strong Eureka, no Eureka today, no Phoenix modified, and the moving average of the 50-day volume is down 13.12% as of now. So that's what's in the chart. As we go through these charts or stocks and prospecting methods, we'll be looking at these charts. Let me just finish off with the charts. There are a variety of charts here. This is a weekly semi-log chart with the 10 and 40 period moving average. This is a chart I believe that Gil uses most. I don't believe he has the group line in here, but I just stuck the group line in. This is the one I use, or the code blue and code red, because I like to see the group index. HGSI is oriented towards group rotation, not just industry group. It can be your own group, it can be smart groups, it can be anything, but it allows us to build any kind of a group with a list of securities, and if they're assigned to a group, they will have this group line in here, and they're going to have a group rank up here also. Okay, this is just a plain chart for if you like to look at a plain chart and draw support and resistance lines without any moving averages. Here's the candle chart with the group index. This is just a plain old candle chart. This is the code blue and code red, and then this is when I first started putting these together a few years ago. I took the original criteria and just put them in this chart. Here's the 10-day moving average. I didn't have all the other moving averages. Rarely use this chart, but it was the first one in there, so I just left it in there. I think you will find that you'll use this one, or this one the most, because it gives you all the information you need. Okay, let me check my list here. Okay, let's go back over here and quickly go through. Well, I think I'll do it in the warehouse just to explain what we have here. So we have the Buyable Gaps up. We have the code blue, which any stock that's moving up, which has the pocket pivot, will show through here. Another thing, well, I'll explain that as I get down the list. Here's this is one of the new things I put in this list today. I put these in. These were not in here before, so when you install the M&K, it'll just go into the same folder, 150107. I thought, I don't have any views in here for looking for pocket pivot for HGSI indexes, so why not put them in? It's simply a matter of, copying one view and letting indexes show through. And if I go to indexes, I'll go to industries. This was Friday's information. I have not updated this yet today, but these were showing as code blue, code red. There were 6 that were showing. So let's just take a look at the biotech index, and I am using the VFB code blue and red secret weapon chart. Why is it a VFB chart? Well, these pocket pivots are generated with what we call a visual filter backtest. I know that's a mouthful, and you don't need to know anything about them, but I'm going to show you how they're attached here. So the code blue, when you bring this up, and there is a indicator in there called visual filter backtest. And when I select use this filter, it's attached to a filter. Now, if you ever get into the filters, you're going to be overwhelmed by them, so don't bother. But what this does, it will generate a signal, red or blue in this instance for code blue, when any of these conditions are met. This would be a 5-day pocket pivot. This would be a 10-day pocket pivot. The price change has to be positive, and it has to be within the percent close to the 10-day moving average of can be no more than 8% above it or 2% below it. So that if you see a big move in a stock and you're using this chart and you wonder why there wasn't a pocket pivot, it's got to be because it was extended away from that more than 8% above the 10-period moving average. So anyway, here is biotech as of Friday, and you can see that biotech has generated lots of pocket pivots along the way. This one here was a hiccup, a move up and then down, didn't generate one, but you can see that Ian's Eureka fired, which is a good indication that there's a market move on, a couple of them, and then the biotechs just went sideways. One thing you have to remember about the biotechs, it's a huge group, so it's not representative of all of the strength which has been contained in that group, and there have been some massively successful stocks in the biotechs if you can deal with the volatility. Okay, so anyway, here's why I wanted to put this in here, just to see when we're getting the pocket pivots on the indexes or the industries. It isn't just industries, it can be any HGSI generated index. So I have down in Woodward and Brown my broad market indices, and I can apply that to those indexes because they're generated by HGSI. You can also apply it to the major industries, and look what comes up, the biotech and pharma. Major industries combine both the biotech and pharma into one group. So why are we getting pocket pivots? Well, it's moving up, it's a positive, and a volume is heavy. You can see these volume spikes on the prior 2 days. This chart is updating right here today, but but the first pocket pivot was generated right there. Now let me go back to the major industries, and I want to show you something. If let's say you're doing your screening for these indexes, and you're looking for, well, let's look at the specialty pharma this time. They've both been very strong. This is actually a much tighter group. It's I believe, a smaller group. But look at the pocket pivots that were generated here. Now, in the past, I wasn't looking for pocket pivots in these indexes. I mean, visually, you know, I could see them. They would come up, but I wasn't screening, so that's why I added this. But let's, what you can do, if you bring a chart up and you look at this, now this is a little bit more complex, but what you can do is you can click on this, you can right mouse click on this, and you can change to the industry group. And then what I have here in my drop-down menu, if I didn't have my filter on, I'll just take that filter off. What it does is it brings all of these specialty pharma stocks into the charting module. But I don't necessarily want to go down through every one of those stocks. I want to see where the strength is. So once these are here, I will click on the warehouse and get this out of the way. And based upon code blue, I'm sorted on what we call the raw combo rank. Well, this is a $2.16 stock. I'm not much interested in that. But I can get a feel for where the strength is. Now, look over here at these two columns right here. These columns represent the 5-day and the 10-day pocket pivot. So you can see that this stock had a huge amount of volume. And let me just bring this chart up here. And it's it's highly speculative, no question about it. Wouldn't touch it, but a lot of people play these stocks. And why is it at the top of the list? Because the combo drove it to the top of the list. Let's just flip through some of these stocks. Now here is tetraphase. It looks like it's coming down today if this is the 12th, and it probably is. Yes, it is. Alternate I. If I bring up the alternate I, notice the date here. That's because this stock is updating. These signals that I'm looking at right now were based on the close, but we're getting some reversal or some profit taking in this stock today. You can see the force index is actually red also. But my point is, if you see a group moving, either code blue or code red, you can change to the stocks in the industry. You can flip into the warehouse view. You can look at these columns right here, and these are going to be sorted by heavy volume based upon the pocket pivots. Now, the reason there's both 5 and 10-day pocket pivots in here is because the 10-day was a little too long in some instances. I guess I'm not quite sure about that, but it makes sense. So what we have now is the ability, and we'll use this stock right here, VRRX. If you look here, it's got a 5-day pocket pivot, but the 10-day didn't fire because the 5-day is at 972.1%, and the 10-day is minus 71.6. So it is generating, well, it's down today too, but as of Friday, it's generating this pocket pivot based upon a 5-day pocket pivot. Not a great example because it's another one of those very cheap stocks. What you need to do is you need to put a different filter on here to eliminate some of these stocks. But I'm just doing this for illustration purposes right now. Okay, let's get back here and get back on track a little bit. So what we have, I'm going to go over here and just look quickly at, well, I said I was going to do it in here, so let's continue in here. What we have are the Buyable Gaps up, code blue indexes, code red. This would be stocks exhibiting code red characteristics going down, as you can see right here. This is breaking down below the 60. That's not the 65. That's a 50-day moving average, so it's breaking down. You can see that this stock has formed a lower high, and if it keeps going, it's going to form another lower low. So this is your code red. This is exhibiting weakness. The next one is the HGSI indexes code red. I kind of covered that. This one is ETF pocket pivots 10-day. Now, if I'm back in all securities, this will go in and pick out ETFs only. This is the ETF pocket pivot 5 or 10 days. Notice the difference in the number of ETFs. There's 25 when I do the 10-day. When I do the 5 or 10-day, it expands it to 34. So you can see that you are getting more candidates by expanding it from 10 to 5 or 10. Now this is the force pocket pivot. The force pocket pivot is Gill's pocket pivots, but also the force indexes, which I showed you earlier. They both have to be firing. So if we get a pocket pivot, and here's Brocade again, if we get a pocket pivot and the force indexes are in play, that is what a force pocket pivot is. Here is a great signal on Owens Corning as of, about 5-6 days ago. You can see that we had a pocket pivot starting at the bottom. We had both force indexes firing. We had a kahuna firing, and we had both bongos were blue. The bongo weekly has been blue for quite some time. Here was a pullback on the bongo daily and also on the force indexes. A lot of times these are great places to look for entries on stocks when these indicators or even just the 2-day forces pulling back, because what you get a rush up. Look at this group line come down, and then the group turns back up, and what happens? You get a pocket pivot after this pullback, and it took off, and it gained, well, here's another thing you can do. Here's a nice little tool. You bring up your annotation tool, and you click on this, and from the close, let's just take it from the open the next day if you were doing it end of day. It has a 8.8% gain if you look down here at the bottom over 3 periods. So that will measure your gain. So anyway, that is force pocket pivots. Here's force pocket pivots 5 or 10 days. Let's see, we only went from 55 here to 58. These are all over here in the smart groups. And what we're doing is we're taking the top 25 based upon the raw combo sort and automatically placing them over here. So you could do all your prospecting in the designer if you want to. These are IPO pocket pivots. So here I am in all securities, and we needed IPO pocket pivots because there's a lot of pocket pivots that occur in IPOs. And you can see right here, look at this. Look at all these pocket pivots in this IPO. I mean, it's a loose, well, it's kind of a loose chart. It doesn't have much of a range here. Excuse me, I had to take another drink. Anyway, this will help you find pocket pivot. Now, you're going to find a lot of junky looking stocks in here too. But there are some winners. When GoPro was on the move, it was coming up in the IPO pocket pivots. Now, here's here's the 5 or 10 day. You can see it expanded it from 5 to 12. So there is more of a selection here. And then this is the original pocket pivots, the first thing that was in HGSI, a little more stringent. Well, it's more stringent than the code blue and so on. But this will give you 55, and the 5 or 10 day only gives you 58. So not a big difference there. But if you're more of a purist and you want to work with only the original pocket pivot criteria, that's where you go. Now let me, let's see, what time is it? It's 2:18 Central Time. There's 45 minutes left in the market. I'm going to just, the screen's going to go black for a second. Come on. Okay. Well, it didn't come up. Just a second. Now, let me try that one more time. I have to make sure my other computer went to sleep. I have to bring it back up. We'll try that one more time. Come on. There we go. I have to. Okay, so this is my laptop that's showing now. You can see the colors aren't as vibrant, but we'll make it work. Now I'm going to check my intraday, and rather than updating the intraday now, I'm going to go back to the other computer while this is doing this. I just want to show you what happens. When I do an update, I am making sure this is selected, and I'm going to start this and run a full update. Okay, so while this is processing in the background, I'm going to go back to my original computer, and we're going to take a look at some intraday stuff in this computer, or on this computer, I should say. So what I have done is I have just made a group of stocks from, well, this isn't really Morales and Casher, but that's all right. Up here in Woodward and Brown, what I did is I just took my number 3 view under my number 1 folder, demand supply stocks, $5 and up, 250,000 shares minimum volume based upon the 50-day moving average volume, and that gave me 2,190 stocks. So that is what I did, and then I just made a group from it, make group from list or the alternate G key, and this is kind of my daily universe right here. So if I bring these into the warehouse, you can see I'm in stocks and groups intraday. You can use all securities if you want to, but there's really no reason to. Now what we're going to do, you just saw an update there. I'm going to get out of Woodward and Brown back to Morales and Casher. The intraday views, filters, and combos that are in Gil's folder are the same that are in the Woodward and Brown. We just copied them down because these work just fine. So I'm going to look at my other computer. I want to see what the market's doing. It looks like it's, the comp's down about 38 points. So what we have here are intraday stocks and groups, and these are just updated. You can see that it's 2:21 Central Time down here. These are updated at 3:05, and I just want to see what it looks like. Here's the whole group, and if I want to see the stocks that are up, I just click on this view, and these stocks have to be positive for the day. And let's compare that to the stocks that are down. You can see there's 1,446 stocks that are down, and there are 683 that are up. So what are we running? 2.5 to 1, something like that. And that's good information. I'm sorted on raw combo, and this stock was bought out today, I believe. You can see the intraday volume compared to the 50-day moving average volume. This is the estimated volume based upon the intraday volume. These calculations will take place all day long, and the ones that are running ahead, clear ahead of what they normally run, are going to be at the top of the list. So let's just bring this stock up. You can see it's a buyout. How do you know? Because it gapped up there and it stayed there. Now this is another nice thing about HGSI. So you look at this and you say, what the heck's going on? I want more info from the web. Let's just go to Google Finance. You can go to any of those places. And then if I click on the news right here, it tells me what happened. Shire to buy NPS Pharmaceuticals for $5.2 billion. So that's why it's at the top of the list, because of that extremely heavy volume. Now I want to see what else is popular today. The easiest way to do that is you can sort on these industry groups like this and see what's here. That's a good way to do it. If you want to see the percentage of what's going on, you open up this spectrum analyzer. I have this pin selected so it stays on top. I open this and I drop down to the industries, and it tells me what is positive today. And you can see, once again, that out of these 683 stocks, the REITs are dominating. This group has been on fire. And had you been paying attention to HGSI, looking at this spectrum analyzer every day, or the stocks in demand, the industry groups in demand, you would see that. Now if that's too much for you, you can go to major industries. The REITs are contained within the real estate sector. Look what's number 2, biotech and pharma. So we can immediately get a percentage view of what's happening on the upside. Now what's going on the downside? Let's just go to the number 3 view, and this immediately tells me that oil, gas, and coal are extremely weak today. That's because crude light's trading down another 5.15% as I check my other computer. So here is the weakness: banking, oil, gas, and coal, media. This is good information to have. Now let me go to just regular industries, and you can get a breakdown here. Here's exploration and production down. 74 of them are down, and there's 72 banks. Oil and gas services, which I pointed out, I do a morning report. I pointed out this morning that if you look at a code red on that back when it started breaking down in July of last year, I mean, it's been a tremendous short all the way down. Unbelievable weakness in that, and there's been an awful lot of pain in that for people that didn't get out of their positions. Okay, so this is very handy. Now let me go back up and show you a, here's what I want. I'm going to go back up to the entire group. I've shown this before, but I want to show it again just to show you the power of this. Now I'm back to the 2159 securities. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new group under my stocks and groups intraday, and I'll just call it industries. And this was about 2:20 Central Time. And what I'm going to do is just click on this. If you do this, you don't have to do a full update, but a full update has many advantages too, and I'm going to show you those when I go back to the laptop. Now, what I'm doing here is I am building the groups. Out of the 2,159 securities, we're building industry groups. Now, if you can tell me where I can do this in any other program, I'd like to know, especially for a program that is about $600 a year. You won't find it. This is a tremendous power, is the only thing I can say. So let's get this out of here. Now let's go over here, industries as of 2:20. I'm going to flip that back through to the warehouse. And now if you go into the intraday views. And if you go down to number 10 here, sort on the raw combo, this is sorting these industry groups that I just created in HGSI by the number of advancing issues versus declining issues. And if you look over here, you'll see that in the precious metals and mining, it's running 19-1. You get an instant read on where the strength is. Security apparel, I'm sorry, specialty apparel stores are 24-1 and so on. Here is the actual number right here. This is what the raw combo sorts on. Let's go down to the other end. To do that, you just go to the far side here, click on this area, and it takes me down. It shows me where the weakness is. You can see that the railroad stocks are suffering. That's because of the price of oil dropping, I assume. Here's that midstream oil and gas that was so weak. If we look at this, we can see that there are 0 advancers and 42 decliners. I'll just bring that chart up, because what this does when I created these industry groups, it creates an up-to-date chart. If I bring up my alternate I key, notice this date 1/12/15. This is where some of the extreme weakness is. So you can do this also with the major groups. I just like to do it with all of the groups, but it's extremely powerful to see what's going on with the market. You can do the spectrum analyzer. That'll give you a visual. If you want to get down inside of these indexes, you do this. Okay, now let's go back to my stocks intraday. And by the way, you don't have to just, you can compile your own list of stocks. For example, I put, these are the 85 stocks. Let's go back up here. Based upon the Woodward and Brown 85. I also have the IBD 50 and IBD 85 in here. You put your own groups in here, and then you can, your own watch list. What you do is you build your watch list, and then you can screen them intraday, so you don't have to look at everything and make a lot of intraday decisions about stocks that you don't know anything about. Stocks, ETFs, or IPOs. IPOs are stocks, of course, but anyway, so I'm in the 85 group, which I made over the weekend, and you can see that the percent volume to the 50-day moving average volume is running at 317.9, and I bring this stock up and look at this. It's had 4 pocket pivots in about the last 8 days, and it looks like it's trying to break out. Very plastics groups. I get a quick read on the EPS rank, the RS rank, the group rank. The ERG's coming in at 248. Volumes, it's pretty liquid here. Earnings are due at the end of the month. You can see how quickly you can get information here. Now the group, and I would have to do the full update, which I did on the laptop to see that group line, but this is a nice looking chart. Look at this short cup here, breakout. What did it break out on? It broke out on pocket pivots. And Kahuna Force, well, two force indexes confirmed by Kahuna the next day, and off to the races. So you can get tremendous insight here. And you can get this insight now, intraday. You don't have to wait till the end of the day. That's the power of this program now. Okay, I'll just go back to my primary groups. I'm going to step through these, and then I want to get into that, what I did with the laptop. So these are all the stocks sorted on raw combo. When it's red here with heavy volume, you know they're going in the wrong direction. Tiffany, big breakdown on Tiffany. This is up, this is down. These are stocks with a 1%, at least a 1% gap up in groups. Here's the intraday range. That's a buyout NPS. Okay, let's look at the next one now. There's a lot of information here. The time it was updated, the range, the open, the last. You can see the last is lower than the open. So you have to use a lot of common sense with these gaps up. Even though this is up, you look at the open compared to the last, and I'll bring the chart up. And what this tells me immediately by looking at the warehouse is that they're selling into this. Here's where it opened. Here's where it is right now. So if you chase these things, you can get hurt. You just have to use common sense. You look for a light pullback, but there's a tremendous amount of supply coming into these stocks when you get those big volume spikes like that. Ideally, what you'd like to see on a stock, these buyable gaps, is first of all, big liquid names. Here's Lulu. Let's see if it gapped up today. Its volume's running very. Yes, it did gap up. Now we're getting a different picture here. I don't know what the news is. I could go look, but I'm not going to take the time. You can see that it gapped open here, came down and tested for supply, and it's moved back up. It's the close, or not the close, but the current price compared to the open is higher. So if it's staying above this buyable gap here, that would be a very good signal. This stock is really tightened up. You can see that. Here's a little cup here and breakout. Pocket pivot and then a down day, but then we're starting to get a bunch of pocket pivots here. This was a down day, but look at the bar. Look at the open. Look at where it traded down. Look where it closed. That tells you that buyers came back in to support this stock on that day. Okay, let's go through some more of these. These are gap down stocks. Notice it goes to all red. These are stocks that are running 100%. Their volume is running more than 100% when compared to the volume, the percentage volume divided by the 50-day. I put that in there just so we could isolate these. Same thing on the downside. This is going to be green here, but you know they're down because this is red. Now this is these next two views are for IPOs or ETFs. These are not assigned to groups. Every one of these stocks in this folder that I have is assigned to a group. But let's say I want to look for IPOs. What I did is I dragged this IPO group down, and let me show you that so I don't confuse you. Under the smart groups, George has these classified under the starters, popular stock categories, new issues, IPOs. This is constantly updated. You just drag one of these down to your user groups, and what I do is I indent it so they come to the top of the list. So that's what I'm looking at here. So these are new issues. Notice that it's a manila folder rather than a green folder, which tells me I'm in my user group. So let's just go back to these IPOs. Once again, it's sorted on this combo. The combo I'm using is the percent volume divided by the 50-day moving average volume. So let's take a look at a few of these IPOs. Now here's where it came out, sold into it, came back down. There's no group here because it's not assigned to a group, but it's been bottoming along here, and now we're starting to get some interest here. These are just intraday stocks with trading heavier volume. You can see that. Now here is one, Juno Therapeutics. This one's been coming up. Here was a pocket pivot and then a pullback here to the moving average, and then it started moving up again. Don't know a thing about this stock though. I'll just flip through a few of these. And you can see that you can find candidates in these IPOs. Here's a nice tight chart. Oh, this is Kite Pharma, no wonder. And it's up again today. But look at all these pocket pivots. Here's a Eureka, and look at this is assigned to a group. Okay, see, there it goes. It's moving up again. So don't overlook these. If you don't mind trading pocket pivots or ETFs, use these two, because if you use these up here, try to use these. Remember, those all have group requirements for stocks. And then this is the one where I did the advancing versus declining issues. So let's see, did I put any ETFs in here? No, but let's just go down to, I'm going to go down to my Woodward and Brown files, and I'll just go to the major market ETFs as an example. So these are the ETFs that are up today, and you can see the ITB is in here, UUP is in here, the dollar index is up, the VIX short-term futures, or the VXX, this is what's up, and these are down. Here's oil, down again. So it works very well for, talk about a code red. I mean, this is unbelievable. We're going to see that $40 oil yet. Let's see where we are right now, 45.85. Okay, so that is what you can do intraday with the Morales and Casher and the views. Now let me switch over to the laptop here, and I'm going to be moving to a different mouse, so if I get a little bit confused, you'll have to forgive me about that. So let's see if this laptop pops up here. Okay, you can see the data has been updated. Now let me put that phone down on the floor. So this is the laptop, and you can see the quality is the graphics card is not quite as good, but that's fine. So why did I want to do this? Well, for several reasons. One thing I wanted to show you that when I do a full update, notice the date on the Morales and Casher smart groups, the 12th. These are updated as of, oh, when did I run this? 20 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. Anyway, here's your code blue. Here's your ETF pocket pivots, force pocket pivots, 5 or 10 days. And this is all current information as of about 20 minutes ago. So you can, if you want to do intraday updates, and you have to have a fast computer, or especially a solid state drive, you can come in here and you can get a jump on the next trading day. Now this one's a little extended, I think, but look at this stock right here, Home Properties, HME. This, I'm using the candle view today. And look at this. Look at all these pocket pivots that occurred on this stock. And look at the code blue up here. So anyway, this is a tremendous advantage if you want to do these intraday updates. And let's do something else while we're in here. I showed you how I made the industry groups using the pie chart. Now these industry groups here are due to the update that I just ran through. Now I'm in my number 10 view here, intraday, same one I showed you, and we are sorted on advancing versus declining issues. Now this is a little trick that I do sometimes. Notice the combo rank setting right here on this padlock. If I click on that, I can go to what I call my demand supply view. If I sort on that, it's going to tell me where the demand is. Remember a few minutes ago I said that the REITs were in demand, biotech was in demand, specialty pharma was in demand.
Hey, Ron.
Using this combo, yes.
This is George. Getting a lot of feedback here that people are not seeing your laptop.
Are you seeing it?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's strange. All right. Well, let me try it. George, stay on.
Okay.
Now I'm back to the other computer. You seeing it?
Hang on. What's the screen you're showing?
I'm showing my original screen. Yeah, Peter Nath is seeing it, so that's showing. Okay, so let me try back. Okay, the original's working. Let me try to go back to the laptop. Because the laptop before, did it work? Okay, I'm going back to the laptop. I'm going back to the laptop. Do you see it?
No, people are saying never saw a laptop. No, 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 no.
Well, that's weird. Why wouldn't it pick it up? Well, I guess I'll have to do without the laptop. All right, that's too bad because I thought this would work out really well. I would just assume, okay, all right. I'll tell you what, that portion that I just did, well, okay, George, I'm also capturing this on Camtasia.
Okay.
So could we use that file? Except that won't work. That's where it's sent out to everybody, will it?
Oh, no, I'd have to do some merge magic.
I don't know. You probably don't want to take time to do that, do you?
I don't know. It depends on what it looks like when I get it.
Okay, how many questions are there? Are there bunches of them?
I've been answering quite a few along the way, but if you open up the question screen, you can see what I've answered and what's still out.
Oh, okay, well, I was going to say if we want to take the time, I could do a 5 or 6 minute update here and then take them through that, what I was just talking about.
Yeah, you probably have about that much time and questions that are still sitting there.
Okay, now I have a bunch of user groups in here. It might take me a little bit longer. Can you, that portion where it was going blank, can you cut that out?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's just do it on this computer. That's, I was assuming that it would come through. All right. So I'm going to answer some questions while this is running in the background, and this may take a little bit longer since I'm running a lot of programs on here. Okay, where are the questions?
They're in that question section off of the menu on the right-hand side. And if you open it wide enough, you'll see there's several that I've answered that you don't have to bother with.
Okay, yeah, let me just run down these. I'm going to bring these over onto the screen, okay? Oh, you've answered that one. Okay. Well, George, I'm glad you've been doing something rather than just sitting there. Okay. You've answered that one too. What have I missed here? Oh, I see. Okay, I'm looking at the answers, not the questions. Sorry. Difference between index group and industry group. Industry groups are assigned, industry groups are assigned by Bloomberg. So they take care of all of that, and the index group is a group that's created by HGSI. It can be a group of any of your stocks or what ETFs or whatever. Okay, now this is where I got all this not showing the other screen. Is there a way in the warehouse view to place 5 and 10-day pocket pivots color? No, Jay, there's no, well, you know, I suppose I could color them, but, you know, I think that would even be more confusing. I think when you see a bar, you're just going to have to look back. Let me read your question. George, I'm hearing your microphone, I think. Is there, let me reread this. Is there a way? I don't know, Jay. That sounds pretty complex. Okay, how did I update the smart groups? Well, that's what's happening right now, Thomas. It's going through the update process. It takes, on this computer, it's probably going to take, I don't know, 6-8 minutes because I have a bunch of user groups too. Do you use the groups from IBD? I just use the groups from IBD there, Carlos. What you do is you just, if you get their spreadsheet, you can just copy those symbols and paste them into a group. It's very simple. Your M&K chart doesn't show earnings date or industry groups and fundamentals. Well, you have to widen the chart if you have. Okay, George, you already answered that one, didn't you? I'm answering some of these that have already been answered. John, why did you yell at me with those capital letters? Well, I'm going to go through all that I did here. Okay. Now that we have Intraday, any way to place alerts, even emails? I think George said that in the future that's scheduled for the Intraday. Is the pie chart method your main way of doing sector rotation? It's my main way for getting a snapshot intraday, but no, it's not my main way. I do look at those every day, though, at the end of the day, and that's where if you see a big move up in a group of stocks where you have several stocks in the same group, they will come to the top of the list, and that's an alert. By putting these or using the pocket pivots that I put in the latest M&K, that will be another way of determining. But also we determine with the force indexes too. There are several screens for the force indexes, but I do look at that spectrum analyzer every day. I think it's very important because it gives you a quick visual on what's going on. What's the difference between what you're doing now and the little screen flickers? I don't know what you mean, Perry. I know the screen flickers, that's just the update. So the information will be 5 minutes newer. Scott, you have to go to the add-ons page and do the latest M&K add-on to get the latest one. George has done a great job in the software. Yes, he has. Thanks, George. And thanks, Matt. Matt's the programmer. Philip, you can't find the code blue and code red chart view that you're using. Did you go download the latest add-on? I'll take you back to that add-on page in a second. Okay, can you either change to industry group or the difference is the industry group is the industry group which is put together by Bloomberg, and if a stock is in another group that you made up, that would be the index. I just generally go to the industry group. What parameters determine whether there's an IPO attribute is true? What is it, 6 months, George?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so 6 months. So the price is updated every 5 minutes, but indexes and smart groups by doing manual update. Yeah, Perry, that's true, except when I did the slices and made the groups from within the index, I don't have to go through the whole process. I can do it that way to see what the indexes are doing. Where can we view the recording again? You'll get a notice. George is going to have to cut that portion where the screen went blank out out, and I'm going to cover that again. You don't have the correct earnings date in the warehouse view. It should be the same, Sam. It comes from the same field. Yes, I know he means full versus intraday update. Yeah, it's a full update. What am I doing now, Perry? I am doing a full update. Why? Because I want to show you that the smart groups are updated, and also you can run a group inclusion report if you want to. It also updates all of the industry groups and the broad market indices. No, every stock is not in a group, Sally. IPOs are not in groups, and some stocks that you never hear of are not assigned to groups. Yes. Chris Wilson says, tell group to sign up for March seminar. Yes, sign up for March seminar, please. Chris is coming. A lot of people are coming. Yes, the URL will be mailed out. Oh, Philip, that chart is the BFB here. Okay, let's go to charting. Anyway, you can see how quickly that updated, even with a bunch of user groups here. Quick pick charting view, it's code blue and code red. If you've downloaded the latest one, it's in there. Jim, that's what I just did. Scan for pocket pivots occurring today. Well, the only way to do an intraday update is manually, yes, or unless you set your timer to do it. But please show how to update M&K add-on. Well, that's what I'm doing. Are you talking about the smart groups, Kent? Okay, so I just went through that process of updating. Like I said, this is an i7 computer. I have a solid state drive in here, and the M&K groups are now showing a date of 1/12. Today is 1/12. Now, so we have 5 minutes left till the market's going to close. Let me take the filter off. It's on here. These are all buyable gaps up as of 20 minutes ago. Lulu, I pointed out. You couldn't see my screen. Here's Lulu. This is a kind of buyable gap in a well-known stock. See, look at that heavy volume coming in that has a good chance of going up. I'm not telling you to buy it. I'm just saying it gapped up on heavy volume. It opened here. They came down and tested it. There are more buyers than sellers right now. How do I know? Because it went back up. It's trading in this range. Right now we have a code blue. So if you're looking for a buyable gap, it's a tight chart, and there is a good chance it'll hold this gap. Don't, like I said, I'm not telling you to buy it. But anyway, that's up to you. Here's another buyable gap. Now this one is very tight range. I don't know if this is a buyout or not. What I would do is I'm not going to do it because of time, but I would go to get more info from the web. If you like a stock, also you can always do the quick add to group. Let me go back to that. Let's say I want to follow Lulu in the future. I'm going to right mouse click. I'm going to quick add to group. I'm going to choose. I'm going to say new, and I'll just watch list, and I'll date it. 2015-01-12. So I am adding this stock to my watch list. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. What am I doing here? Too many things going on in this computer. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I've got a lot of things open. So anyway, you can just flip through charts, and if you want to add them to a watch list for the following day. Now here's another one. It gapped open. this one looked pretty ugly earlier, but notice where it's closing right now, or where it was 20 minutes ago. Opened here, traded down, big shakeout, now it's going towards the high. This is one of those biotech stocks. Somebody said you couldn't see this information over here. That's because your chart is like this. You have to open it up. So all of these have been updated today. Let's do the force 5 and 10 minute. And look at this. Here's a line. This has been coming up for several days. Look at all of these pocket pivots here. Look at the kahunas. Look at the Bongo daily, weekly, and the force indexes. Beautiful. Coming off of a nice long base. Look at this group. Turned up. Here's what I was saying about this group rank being updated when you do the full update. It'll update everything. I'm just going to flip through a few more of these. Now here's one that gapped open and is trading towards its low right now, Bristol-Myers Squibb. Here's that Brocade again. Here's the Buckle. This is a Nebraska company, a clothing store. Doing very well. Okay, so we're in the, when I looked at the groups earlier, I believe specialty apparels were coming up. This belongs to that group. You can see the group has headed back up. Okay, anyway, the point is, oops, all of these are updated now. So if you want to run this, say 30 minutes before the market closes, you will have all of your pocket pivots or any other group that you're looking at. It'll be current as of 15 minutes earlier, plus the time it takes to run your update. Thomas, you have to run a full update. Okay, there's the bell. How do I update the charting views? Well, the charting views are update throughout the day themselves. If you want to update, if you had a chart up for a while, hit your F5 key, and that will bring it up to 15 minutes ago. Are we getting more questions? Okay. No, Thomas. If you go through the update, you will get the current dates just like I have them over here. But one thing, you may have a slow computer. You may not want to do that. If you don't want to do that, you can just go back to the stocks and groups up, and you can go to all securities, or I'm just going to go to my stocks and intraday groups here. And if you go down to the, you could look at the price gap up stocks, or you could look at the intraday stocks that are running ahead of volume, and more than likely by the end of the day, many of these will be pocket pivot stocks. Let's just bring this one up. Well, this one isn't a pocket pivot stock because it's extended well beyond, this is a gap up, beyond that those parameters in the 10-day average that was in the filter. That's why it's not showing up. Let's see if I can find one here. That one too, well beyond. These are all gaps up. Okay, now here is one which generated a pocket pivot today. This is that Berry Plastics group. Now, why did it generate a pocket pivot and the others didn't? Because it is well within the range of this 10-period moving average. Hit the wrong thing, sorry. So, here's the 10-day moving average. It's only 2.27% above it. If it were more than 10% above it, it would not generate a pocket pivot. That helps keep you out of extended stocks. See, this one didn't generate a pocket pivot either because it's too far away from the 10-day simple moving average. If you look at this, it is 10.12% away. Doesn't mean that you can't take it, but it is beyond the requirements of the pocket pivot. Let's look at Lulu now. See, it did not generate a pocket pivot either because it is 9.72% away and my limit is 8%. Yes, Mike, the new M&K add-ons are posted yet. That's what I'm working with right here. So everything, they will just download them and overwrite what you currently have. George put them up there, and it's a simple process. Now, for some of you, let me just review the add-on process. Go to your Help menu, select Add-ons. It'll take you directly here, and just go down to the M&K, click on Download Filters, Views, and Combos, and you have to close the program. I'll close it. I'll save that first, and my program is closed now. I just double click on it. I'm running Windows 8.1 here. Okay, now when I reopen my program, I get this message. New system files are available to upgrade your current views, filters, combos, groups. This will overwrite any views, filters, combos, groups with the same names. Start import. That's why it overwrites it. So it's completed. I open up my warehouse. I've got some filter on here I don't want on. I'll hold my Shift key to get rid of that filter. And you can see that my intraday data is not updated now. So what do? I hit my F5 key, and look how quickly this information updates. It's amazing. Joe, go back and look at the video. Well, I'll show you quickly. What do you mean you don't have the that intraday folder is not created by the M&K add-on. Let me show you how to do that. Okay, I'm going to go through this quickly. I just did this. You don't have to do this. But to me, I want to look at stocks and groups, okay? So let's do this very quickly. What you have to do is go up to the Woodward and Brown, go into the #1 folder, and if you want stocks $1 and up, trading 100,000 shares, you click on that. That'll give you, well, let me go to all securities. First of all, I forgot to go to all securities. You go to all securities, that's going to give you 3,249, but you're going to get a lot of very inexpensive stocks that trade low volume too. So what I do is I click on my #3 view, $5 stocks and up, 250,000 volume, and they are assigned to groups. How do I know that? Because it's in the filter. If I open up my filter and edit this, this line right here in sector does not equal blank. You can do this many ways, but this is the way I've always done it. That means if it's not assigned to a sector, I don't want it in here because I want stocks and groups. In groups. Why do I want stocks and groups? Because we deal in what are called wolf packs. We are looking for stocks and groups that are moving together, and we're looking for the best stocks within these groups. That's where pocket pivots come in, and fundamentals and everything else. That's where my demand combo comes in, because it's going to find some of the very best stocks. Now, I have run through the end of day update here, not the end of day, but I've run through the intraday update about 30 minutes ago now. So this current view has what I call stocks and groups moving up, which is the same as my demand combo. So these stocks here are going to be some of the most in demand for the day. And look at this, how this is setting up here. They tried to sell it off and it closed at or near its high. Biogen, lot of demand, ugly chart. Celgene setting up. Let's see, was this? Let me look at this. Okay, this one's setting up too. It just had this ugly break here. It's been working its way back. But based on volume and everything else that's in that combo, notice what these are. These are all specialty pharma and biotech stocks. You can look over here and you can tell immediately, you know, where the strength is, or you can do this thing. Let's see. I would need to really go back here to the intraday and open this up and look for stocks and groups that are up. And then this is going to give me the information. When I go down to the industry folder and click on industries, the REITs are dominant, so are the biotechs, so are the specialty pharmacy, and so on. You get an instant read all day long. You can keep this thing pinned on your screen all day long, and you can watch it shift as groups come in and out of favor. If that's too much information, use the major indexes. Maryland's updated every 5 minutes. It's 15 minutes late. If I bring up a chart here and I click on my F5 key, I know that right at that time that is 15 minutes ago. Okay, well, you're not getting the latest information because you probably did not do a full update like I just did. What you have to do intraday, and you have to have a fast computer to do it, you go in here and you do you have to run through this full update and select this update and include intraday data. But then with a solid state drive, it took me about 6 minutes, I think, to update that thing, which really, you go get yourself a cup of coffee. First thing you do is you go buy a solid state drive, not just for this program, but it'll make a tremendous amount of difference. Marilyn, did I answer your question? Yes, Don, an SSD. I bought an SSD for an i5 with 4 megs of RAM. Put it in there. It's an old laptop. The update, I believe, was 7 minutes. Ed, you can't click on intraday full update. Well, let's see how you're set up. Do you have enable intraday? And then, did you bring this up and click on update and include intraday data? And then if you did that, you click the start button and it'll update. You just have to play around. You're not going to hurt anything. That's what I do. I play around all day. That's how I come up with this stuff. No, I mean, it's my job to figure this stuff out for you so you don't have to. I realize there's a lot to learn, but if you concentrate on the Morales and Kasher groups and use these charts, go through these things that I did today, I mean, you'll have a tremendous amount of knowledge, and you'll just be seeing things that you never saw before. Are there any more questions? Ed, did you figure out that intraday full update? I'm going to stay on until the market is 15 minutes away from, a couple more minutes. I have no idea. Well, I can tell you that Gil is making a ton of money. People earning, you can't answer that question. David, it just doesn't. A guy like Gil can make 100%. It depends on how much time and effort you put into it, how much discipline you have. But his methodology works. You can certainly follow him on his website. He does webinars. Yes, Sally. Well, you don't have to do a full update. F5 will update your intraday data. The full update updates the smart groups and everything else. Let me show you one more thing while I'm waiting. Okay, I do these. I'm waiting for the market to be 50 minutes delayed. I do these group inclusion reports, and those of you who get my daily report know that I do this. But anyway, you have these files in your version of HGS Investor. I do what's called a top 50 group inclusion report. If you just open this up, let's say I want to run this before the market closes. What this is doing is selecting a bunch of different smart groups, including Woodward and Brown, Lotta Morales and Casher, and some of the other groups. If I want to see what stocks are appearing most often in these smart groups, I can run this intraday. I didn't make a group from it, and what it's doing is it's going to go in and pick out a list of stocks which are appearing most often in these smart groups. And you can see it's dated the 12th. There's the date, and these are the smart groups where this stock appeared. 5 Prime Therapeutics, 12 times, 11 times plus the industry group. A bunch of W&B, a bunch of M&K, a Buyable Gap Up, Code Blue, Pocket Pivots. It's in Leaders, Stecklers, Stocks, Scott, Mobile Breakout. No, I'm not moving towards Gil's list. Gil uses stocks and groups moving to the upside. Well, here, Perry, you need to come to our seminar. Gil, when he comes and speaks, and he's going to speak again, he says a good way to do this is to go into the stocks and groups moving to the upside under Woodward and Brown, upside and downside, and then what you can do is you can apply Gil's pocket pivots, buyable gaps, whatever you want. So you can use this as your base. And let's just, I didn't want ETFs. Code, let's see, I want force pocket pivots 5 or 10 days. So this stocks and groups moving to the upside, since I did my full update 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago now, this is stocks and groups moving to the upside as of today. And this is great stuff. Yeah, Mike's saying if you're really lucky, you can sit and talk to Gil after the seminar. But anyway, these are the ones that are in stocks and groups moving up, which are passing the filter. Whole Food Markets is breaking out today. Now, if we'd run this and looked at this before the market closed, you'd have a chance to maybe get into these. This one, like I said before, a line has been coming up for days. Okay, well, anyway, it looks like 80 people stuck around. That's pretty good. I know there's a lot of interest in the way Gil operates and his indicators and HGSI, and this program is tremendous. That's all I can say. I've been messing around with technical analysis programs and since 1983. That tells you how old I am. And this is by far the most powerful thing that I've ever seen. It was powerful when it was end of day, but by throwing this intraday in here, it is everything you could ask for. The only other thing you could ask for is real time. That's not going to happen. You have to pay exchange fees. It gets very expensive, and nobody is going to want to pay for that. What you do is you this will be the last, well, it'll be the next to the last thing I look at. I'm going to bring up in my other window, you can't see it, but let me just attach this. I've shown this before. This is from Thinkorswim, and let's just take this group right here. Copy symbols to clipboard, and then I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to import and paste over what I had in there. So what this lets you do is you can do the 15-minute delayed, and then when you get ready to trade, or if you want to get into real-time quotes, you just bring up your program and you paste this in here, and then you look at the real-time charts. I didn't think I could talk this long, but I guess I can. Okay, so here's these charts. I've got them linked, and this is the pocket pivot 5 and 10 days. Now, if you're running this, I didn't mean to do that. If you're running this 30 minutes before the market closes, you're gonna find most of these stocks. You know, every one of these stocks is beautiful. And you know, this isn't the first day they've been coming up in HGSI. They just happened to come up again. Let's take a quick look at this. Multiple pocket pivots on this one. Celgene, Berry Plastic, multiple pocket pivots, a few pocket pivots on Whole Foods, multiple pocket pivots, multiple pocket pivots, multiple pocket pivots, multiple pocket pivots, multiple pocket pivots. I'm repeating myself, but this is powerful. Intraday, end of day, it's powerful, but it's even more powerful intraday now. Yes, it is. If I ever thought about writing a book, David, I don't have time to write a book. But I'll tell you what, and I didn't mention this, we are going to do a video book about from the installation through everything that I've talked about today and maybe more. These will be short videos. They won't be over 15 minutes, each of them. And what it's going to do, it's going to give newbies a chance to learn the program in a step-by-step method. I can hi, George. No, I didn't filter anything out. What do you mean filtered out of which watch list? Are you going to put? Boy, Marilyn, you're putting the pressure on me. I have a newsletter to get out this week, but I'm going to start them pretty soon. No, George, I didn't. I'm just concentrating on what I'm seeing in here. I certainly didn't know. If we look at, let's just go look in here. Am I going to get out of here or not? Let's see here. Let's go in here. They've been showing up in my spectrum analyzer. Let's just go up to the Woodward and Brown. And they were showing up earlier. Of course, you have a whole group here. Okay, as of when I ran that, the precious metals were number 27 as a group. But here is, well, let's just run this intraday. You can see what these did intraday today. But no, they've been showing up. I haven't filtered anything out. There's been some bottom fishing going on. Yeah, some of them look pretty decent. Let me, you know what I did, you know why a lot of these aren't showing up, because I have $5 250,000 share minimum. Let's do this. I'm just curious now. There you go. $1 to $15, number 2, 13.11% of these. Well, let me take this. These are stocks and groups to the upside. Okay, let me take this off now. Darn it. There you go. Using the spectrum analyzer, stocks and groups moving to the upside 1 to 15. They're the dominant group, 18.81%. Now let me just bring up a chart. Yeah. Looking good. Had a pocket pivot. It's pretty much code blue on this shoot too. Now, you know, this brings up another point. If you, you know, if you're looking for these stocks that are in that 1 to 15 range, when you make your original group, you may want to do this instead. Just go into all securities. Let's go back in here and let's make another group, okay? I'm going to go into my Woodward and Brown, and I'm going to use a 1 in 100,000. So any stock trading for $1 or above, minimum of 100,000, then I'm going to make the group from this. So intraday inclusive of, probably didn't need to put that $1 to $15. Okay, there's 3,249 now. I do not need to generate an index. Now let's go back and let's just take a look at this. These are the stocks that were up today. And now I'm including the inexpensive stocks also. So now if we bring that spectrum analyzer up and look at the industry, you can see George, there are 21 precious metal and mining stocks in there now. Well, Ed, did you update the intraday stocks? Did you select that to include the intraday stocks? I can see I have a lot of teaching to do yet here. Right here. Make sure that this is selected also. And it'll go through today when you do your full update. Okay, now let's do this little trick here. I'm going to go into the precious metals and mining. These are all the precious metal and mining stocks that are appearing. I bring up a chart. Then if I change to the industry group, these are all the ones that showed up here. I'm going to flip through to the warehouse. Of these stocks, these are the ones, notice that these are all precious metal and mining. And then if I sort on the raw combo, these are the ones that are showing the greatest relative volume compared to the 50-day moving average volume. And you can see that this Barrick is setting up nicely. It's had multiple pocket pivots. There's GFI. So the reason those weren't showing up, George, is because I wasn't including them. Okay. Anyway, people are starting to bail now, but geez, almost 70 of you stuck around. That's good. Anyway, I hope you found this informative. I just can't tell you how great and flexible this program is now, and you know, I'm working on coming up with new techniques all the time. You can stick with Morales and Casher. That's all you need, but there's plenty of good Woodward and Brown stuff too, and everything else. So anyway, I'm glad you enjoyed this, and we'll probably do something along these lines for Woodward and Brown too, just to get people familiar with the terminology and so on. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and okay, Ed, take a look here. Like I said, you just have to play with this stuff. Excuse me one second. See where it says intraday? Enable intraday. You have to enter. Yeah, you're welcome. Glad I could be of help. Okay, George, I think this thing has run 2 hours. I think we better shut it down. Thanks for all your good questions, too, and you're welcome.
You didn't think you could do it, Ron?
What's that?
You didn't think you could do it.
I know. I know. You're welcome, George. Anyway.